Let me go back to what you just alluded to, China, how that's changing the model, because they are building a lot of ships. How do you think that will change the model in terms of rates and in terms of having to move up the value chain, which you talked about?
I have a very simple model. Anything China buys goes up in price. Anything China sells goes down in price. China has over 2,000 shipyards. 200 are probably export capable. Ultimately, that's a deflating type of element that is going to come onto shipbuilding. It's going to come into the commodity sectors. Their labor costs are 1/10 of Korea. China will do to Korea what Korea did to Japan.
Morten?
I totally agree. China will succeed as long as it stays politically stable. It will continue to develop. They have the competence, they have the people, they have a huge market. They will succeed. I'm pretty sure of that.
But I think there's a lot of uncertainty around China, because essentially you have state-owned shipyards building ships for state-owned shipping companies financed by state-owned banks. And I think what is strategic reasons for China to build this shipbuilding industry might not be economically sound for the industry as such. So I think that's a big question mark.
Oh, I actually think it's fantastic, because China will come up with its own logistics network. The number one thing, because I was in China last September, we ordered a VLCC at a Chinese government-owned shipyard. We chartered it for 5 years to a Chinese government-owned shipping company, and we borrowed the money from a Chinese government-owned bank. I love it. And the number one thing that they said to me was they were not, with all the natural resources, and they were not going to be dependent on a US-centric logistics network. So they don't like UPS and FedEx controlling all of what's going on. They're building a container ship logistics network. It's actually going to take more ships to move the same amount of cargo, because they're going to have a separate logistics network.
But Peter, is China benefiting from low or high freight rates?
Absolutely, I agreed with your point that China, as a country, wants low freight rates. But I don't believe they are as managed as the newspaper articles would like to say they are.
Morten, you wanted to jump in here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they have said clearly that the Chinese would like to have more of their own transportation in and out of China on their own keels, and I believe they will succeed in that.
What's the ramifications of that, though, for you who are in, the charter business? It doesn't bode well.
But I mean, for us, the proof, we are building two new factories in China now, and that's, of course, because we believe in China for the future.
He's the only one who's benefiting from oversupply. Because the more ships, the more paint.
I think this is actually giving great benefits to suppliers that are willing to actually build up and invest in China. It comes obviously with some risks as well. And I also see kind of your positive view on it. But I think it is a risk when it's kind of political motivated ordering of ships and where the kind of commercial side is less important. And I agree with Trøim that it's actually they are benefiting from low rates. And for us, that are actually we need the high rates to be commercially viable. That is a risk as well.
Yeah, but that's the new reality. The new reality is you're not going to put in place an LNG unless you sell a certain amount to the end taker, which is the Chinese. You're seeing that in the coal bed methane. And then to be a little provocative, you've ordered LNG ships in Korea. It isn't clear that Chinese charterers want Korean-built LNG ships.
So maybe you're stuck again then.